All right, here we are. Welcome back to Dunkirk Dunes for Anzacanarance turn 3. So here's, I guess before we even get into that, there's this issue that Detroit asked me to just kind of update on my video as to whether Hambone was going to submerge. So Hambone has a British sub there in 93, and Detroit came in with 2 Italian subs, and Hambone just decided to submerge, and that's what I'm using the green chips for there. So that British submarine in 93 is submerged, so it can't convoy, but they're all just there, all 3 of those subs. So that's kind of an update on that. So getting into Canada, Anzac, and France. So Canada has 11 in the bank to spend, and what we're going to do is we're going to spend 10 of it on a fighter, and we're going to hold 1 over for next turn. Anzac had, let's see, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. They had 21. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold 2 of it over, and the other 19 we're going to spend 7 on a transport, and we're going to spend 12 on 2 submarines. So that's going to be Anzac's purchase. So those are the purchases. Of course, France not buying anything, they have no money. But I guess starting over here with Canada, so I did go back and look in the rule book, and under the BBR, it is true that when an Anzac unit comes onto this kind of Europe side of the board, it actually is treated as if it were Canadian. So for all purposes, these guys here are Canadian. But this transport in 66 is going to move up to 85 and offload his infantry there into Brazil. And we're going to annex Brazil in the name of the Canadians. So what that's going to mean is that guy there is going to become Canadian. Let me grab I need 1 more chip to replace my neutral guy here. So we've got 3, and then the guy that landed, that makes 4 Canadians there. Okay. And that is, I think, about it for Canada. They don't have much else that they even could do. So I think we're going to call that it for Canada. And that's going to bump Canada up 2. They were at 7. That'll take them up to 9 for taking Brazil. Okay. And I might as well, since I'm over here, I might as well just go ahead and place my fighter as well. So I only have the 1 factory there in Quebec, so it has to be built there in Quebec. And then I guess I might as well go ahead and collect my money for Canada as well. So Canada is now at 9. I still don't quite have that national objective yet. And I carried 1 over. So 9 with the 1 carried over is going to give me 10 for Canada for next turn. So Canada is going to have 10 for next round. Okay. Going on here to Anzac. So again, I just have some non-combat moves. Nothing else really going on. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my transport here in C-Zone 41, and that is going to set sail 1 into 42, 2 into 55. So that transport is just going to be hanging out there in 55. And then also non-combats, I'm going to rail No, not going to rail. They're just going to walk. Infantry and an artillery from Queensland are going to walk from Queensland into Northern Territory. Other non-combats. So one of these fighters, there's two fighters, Anzac fighters in Malaya. One of them is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 into Calcutta. Okay. And then, let's see, this may be the last one that I've got. So I have another transport in 62. He's going to pick up, it's non-combat movement, so he can pick up an anti-aircraft gun. And I think I'll take this infantry as well. And he's leaving from a naval base, so 62, he can go 1 into 54, 2 into 46, 3 into 45, and drop those 2 units off as a non-combat move on Dutch New Guinea. So I should grab one of my markers here. I need a third hand to be able to get that open. In a Ziploc bag. Okay, so he's going to annex Dutch New Guinea for the Anzac guys. Okay, so I think that's it for all of my Anzac moves. Let me just kind of look over this and make sure I haven't forgotten anything. And I can go ahead and place my new units. So I just have, of course, the one factory in New South Wales. So all 3 of these units that I'm building have got to go into C-Zone 62. Okay, and as far as income goes, Dutch New Guinea is worth 1. So Anzac would go up another 1 from 18 to 19. Nobody goes down because it was just Dutch. Yeah, I'm just looking at the board. I don't think there's any other Anzac Canada moves I need to make. So they're going to collect. Now they are going to get their NOs this round. It may be the only round. We'll see what happens, what Japan chooses to do. But so they're at 19 on the IPC chart. But they have these 2 NOs that now we are at war with Japan because Britain declared war, and that automatically means Anzac is also at war. So the first one, Allies control Malaya and Anzac controls all their original territories. That is true. So we get 5 for that. And then the second one, if the Allies, not the Dutch, control Dutch New Guinea, New Britain, and the Solomon Islands, we do have all of those now. So we get 10 bonus for both of those. So we're at 19. We get a bonus of 10. That makes 29. Plus the 2 that we carried over from last time gives us 31. So Anzac is going to have 31 to spend. That's probably as much as I've ever had for Anzac. So Anzac's doing okay. As far as the French, just maybe a few non-combat movements. So this one guy, French Equatorial Africa, he's going to go ahead and slide over into Sudan. And I think that may be everything. I might take, I think I will do this. Take my one French guy who's in Transjordan. I'm going to slide him up in here to Syria, just so that we have something there in Syria in case the Axis decide they want to come in there. And that's basically it. So I think all I have left here is just kind of do a disposition of forces. So let's start over here with the Canadians. So in Quebec, we have an infantry, an artillery, and a fighter. In Brazil, I have 4 infantry. In C-Zone 85, I've got a transport. In Scotland, there are 2 Canadian infantry. In Gibraltar, there is Canadian infantry and Canadian armor. In Egypt, there are 2 Canadian infantry. I think that does it for Canada. As far as Anzac goes, in Calcutta, I've got 2 fighters. In Sumatra, I've got 1 infantry. Java, 1 infantry. Malaya, 1 infantry and 1 fighter. C-Zone 37, there's an Anzac cruiser and destroyer. Sliding over here, C-Zone 55, got a transport. Northern Territory, there's an infantry and artillery. Dutch New Guinea, I've got an infantry and an anti-aircraft gun. C-Zone 45, there's a transport. Queensland, I've got an infantry. New South Wales, got an infantry and an anti-aircraft gun. And C-Zone 62, there's a transport and 2 submarines. I think that does it for Anzac. I don't think I missed any units I have on the board. As far as the French, there's a French infantry in Syria. There is a French destroyer in C-Zone 81. There is French infantry in Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. 2 French infantry in Algeria. 1 French fighter in Gibraltar. And 2 French infantry in London. And I think that does it. I've kind of gotten the habit or a tradition here of kind of showing you the losses for the round. So round 3, of course there were some neutrals that were eliminated there in Greece by the Italians. You can see the German units there that were lost, quite a bit of infantry and 1 bomber. The Soviet units, there's kind of a good collection there of stuff that was lost. You see little decals I put on there, some little white stars since the tanks are red. Of course, Japan lost their obligatory kind of 1 infantry for the round. China lost a couple of cavalry and an infantry. UK lost not nearly what they had lost in previous rounds. And the Italians, a couple of transports, some 3 infantry and an artillery. That's it. Losses for round 3. So thanks for watching, guys, and I guess we're on to round 4.